Now then folks, how are you doing? It's James, JT at the Movies, back with you for another video on the channel. And as the title suggests, this is my April 2024 movie update, DVDs, Blu-rays, and a couple of 4Ks as well to show you. Bit of everything this time. I can't quite remember where I left off for the last one, whether it was the end of March or the beginning of April, but this is everything that I've picked up since then. And to keep it nice and simple, we're just going to call it April's update. There's also a couple of things that I've bought at the start of May. As of recording this, it's the 7th of May, so yeah, absolutely, it's all going to be everything I've bought in that period anyway. And as always, we're going to start with some DVDs. So I bought this over the weekend just gone. The premise was what sold me on it. I don't know anything about it other than what I read on the back, and it is Booksmart. So look forward to watching that one really soon. What I'd actually popped into HMV to pick up, though, when I picked up Booksmart, was this one, and that was The Holdovers. I was going to hang off until around Christmas to pick it up, because it's, you know, it's sort of set at Christmas as I understand it, and sort of that is a bit of a central vibe. And I'm not one of those guys that can watch a movie that's got anything to do with Christmas, you know, in April, in May, in June, whatever. I've got to watch it, you know, sort of November, December time. So I was gonna hold off, but I was in there and sort of, you know, got the itchy trigger finger to buy a movie, as we all do. Otherwise we wouldn't have channels and we wouldn't have collections like this. So I ended up picking it up. I can't remember if I showed this one or not, so if I've shown it before, don't worry, I'm not going crazy. I haven't picked it up twice. But this is Last Man Standing, and I picked this up because I'm reasonably interested in the subject matter. My mate Phil is really big on Biggie, Suge Knight and Tupac, and the story of everything that went on there, and it's something that he talks about quite passionately and quite regularly. And so I saw this and thought, do you know what, I'm going to pick the documentary up and see what it's all about. So look forward to watching that at some point. The next one that I picked up because it's got Anne Hathaway and Thomasin McKenzie, who was in Last Night in Soho. It is a film called Eileen. I don't know anything really about the plot, but it was the two leading ladies that sold me. This next one I picked up based on Kermit's Ghost recommendation. I believe he showed this in one of his videos. I'm sure he watched it as well, if I'm not mistaken. But when he talked about it in his video, the plot summary really grabbed me. And it sounded just like it was going to be my cup of tea. And it absolutely was. And that is Please Don't Destroy the Treasure of Foggy Mountain. So this is the story of three friends that have grown up together, and naturally, as you kind of do with your childhood friends, or at least I've had this experience, as you all get lives and you all settle down with partners and with jobs and whatever else, you know, the friendship's still there, but you maybe not once as sort of fiercely close as you once were. And it's the story of one of the lads who's sort of living in the past a bit, trying to get his friends to go on one last adventure before they all sort of go their separate ways. And of course they go searching for the titular treasure of Foggy Mountain. And it's a comedy. It's you know, it's got some sweet moments, it's got some daft moments, it's easy watching, and I had a lot of fun with it. I can imagine it'd be a film that I'd revisit. I would actually put it in a similar sort of camp, even though it's obviously not a horror comedy at all, but I put it in a similar camp to something like Scout's Guide for the Zombie Apocalypse or something like that. Just really like easy brain dead watching, but you can have a laugh and the characters feel relatable and accessible and that sort of thing. Yeah, so really quite a fun little B movie actually, and a nice little cameo from Conan O'Brien as well, who plays an absolute dickhead of a father in it. The next one I picked up in CEX for £1, and the premise sold me on it. And then when I got to the till to pay, the guy was like, "Oh mate, you've got a great film here." And normally, or at least in my CEX in Wakefield, they don't normally sort of entertain that sort of commentary. So I was intrigued when the guy was saying, "You've got a good one." And it's Edward Norton in The 25th Hour. And Ed Norton in this is sort of a drug dealer, and I think, if I'm remembering it rightly, he's a bit of a middleman, and he basically gets busted by the DEA, and he gets one of these sort of like deferred sentences where they must give him a certain amount of time to set his affairs in order before he goes to prison for a really long time. And the 25th hour is all about his last day of freedom and sort of saying his goodbye to his wife and his friends, and you know, the sort of the drug land people that he got involved with, that's ultimately led to him being where he's been. And, you know, will he make a run for it, won't he? Is he going to own up and, you know, sort of face up to his responsibility, as it were, and all that sort of stuff, and the strained relationship with his parents. And Yeah, it's just it was a really sort of thought-provoking movie, actually. Really good drama. I didn't quite know what to expect sort of going into it. I thought it was maybe going to go one way, but it leaned more into the drama. But I definitely recommend it, and Edward Norton puts in a really great performance. This is one I've been meaning to pick up for the longest time and just haven't got round to it. Anyway, it was in HMV. You know, when you sort of spot it out the corner of your eye, and it's like, oh, I've been meaning to grab that. So that is Emilio Estevez, Pat Hingle, and Laura Harrington in Maximum Overdrive. Looking forward to watching this next one, though. I'm probably going to hang fire and maybe try and watch it with my granddad, because he's quite a football nut. It looks like it's going to be an entertaining sort of comedy drama sort of thing, and it is Taika Waititi's Next Goal Wins. Didn't feel I needed to get the Blu-ray for this one. I figured it'd be more than fine on DVD. The next 5, yeah, counting my DVDs, the next 5 that I've got to show you, I picked up from the charity shop that I mentioned last time that's opened up on the local high street, where I got the 2 Star Trek Blu-rays, and I found the time to go back and have a good old rifle through it. There was plenty of stuff in there, but really, you know, when you start having a collection the size of mine, where it takes up an entire room in your house, you often find that there's not much in these sort of places where all your common titles, you know, appear that you haven't got anymore. But I still managed to pick up 5 titles. So the first one is Anthony Hopkins and Chris Rock in Bad Company. Looks like it's a sort of a police-based action movie. The cast and the premise sold me. These were 3 for £1 or 50p each, so the whole lot ended up costing me £2 as well. This next one, again, it was the premise and the cast that sold me, and that is Manic. I'm really looking forward to watching this one quite soon. So the next one to show you is I Want Candy. Now, this is a replacement for a copy that I've already got in the collection. And years ago, when I started collecting DVDs, I wasn't as particular in my sort of collecting habits, and I would, you know, buy loose discs and things at car boots and market stalls and things like that. And so long as I had the movie, I wasn't really bothered about whether I had the artwork, because years ago I used to keep all the boxes, you know, all the cases as it were, under my bed in boxes, and then used to just have the DVDs in ring binders on the shelf. And I've obviously since, you know, sort of come round on displaying the collection properly and whatever else. But I only had this as a disc version, so it is now on the shelf somewhere over there, but just with a printed spine. So I got that so that I can replace it and have the proper artwork. There's not many titles in my collection that are like that. There's maybe 3 or 4 in the whole, I don't know, 5,000 titles in this room. But yeah, I wasn't going to leave that one behind. The next film's not one that I've heard of either, but again from that charity shop, and the premise was what sold me on it, and I figured, you know, for 50p a go, or in the 3 for £1, I would pick it up, and that's Crying Freeman. I wonder if he's related to Morgan. That was such a dad joke, wasn't it? I'm allowed to make those because I'm going to be a dad in about 5 weeks. And then the last one that I picked up is Jackie Chan in The Myth, and all I needed to read on the back of it was Time Travelling Archaeologist. Yeah, I'm sold. So next to show you is the Blu-rays. Now, I've only got one standard Blu-ray to show you, and then I've got 3 special edition Blu-rays to show you. So the standard edition Blu-ray is Saw 10. I recently bought the Saw 1 to 8 Jigsaw box set, and then Spiral, because they haven't done a box set of all of them. I don't know if it's a rights thing or whether it's just because, you know, people aren't buying the Saw collection over and over again. It seems to be a weird one where those movies don't seem to come down in price either. I spent, when I bought the box set ages ago, and you'll probably remember me saying if you watch the channel regularly, but I bought it with a voucher that work gave me, because it just seems to hold firm at like 45 quid or whatever, in HMV at least. I can't remember whether I got a deal on it at the time, but anyway, I bought it with a voucher, so it wasn't my money sort of, you know, being spent, as it were. But I kind of held off getting Saw 10 because I didn't go see it in the cinema, because there was a, I'm going to get very personal now, but there was a scene in it involving leg amputation, and without going into something really personal that's not for this channel and not appropriate, let's just say I've a history with that subject matter, and find it quite squeamish. And so Laura's a big Saw fan. We're both big fans of the series, so she went to see it with her dad and said, yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to watch that film. So I've been kind of working up to because I've wanted to watch it. I really enjoy them, and you know, the earlier ones in particular, me and Laura used to watch when we'd have date evenings. We'd cook for each other, we'd stick a horror film on, and quite often we'd work our way through them. So I felt like I was missing out, and I've really sort of had to work up the courage to watch the film, and the scene in particular weren't great. Didn't enjoy it, but I enjoyed the rest of the film. I thought it was a solid entry. It was really nice to see like the likes of Amanda back again, and Tobin Bell, you know, for 80 odd years old, looking fantastic, still being able to pull off the John Kramer role. And it was really nice to see the cameo from Hoffman as well at the end in the original set. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a real sort of return to form, because the last two were a bit shaky for my money. So yeah, it was really good to see that, and sort of to overcome that little hurdle personally as well. So there you go. There's a little insight into something in my life for you. Bit dark for the channel maybe, but there you are. So the next three that I'm going to show you are all from Second Sight Films. I picked them up when I got paid. I was only going in for this first one, which is The Borderlands, which is a horror film, which is actually set in Newton Abbot, which is where my mum lives. Well, she lives just outside of there. And the premise as well of sort of like a haunted church and all that sort of thing going on really sort of sold me on it. And then the fact that it was, like, say, near where mum lived as well, just sort of was an interesting aside. But yeah, it's a found footage film, and really enjoyed it. It's a great restoration of a film that I'd not even heard of before. I think it's called something like Final Prayer internationally. So we've got it as I say, as The Borderlands. Horrible glare there I'm showing you, isn't there? But yeah, I think it's Final Prayer internationally, so anybody watching in the States or Europe might know it under a different title. I then picked up this next one on my buddy who I work with, Ed's recommendation. He's talked about this film a few times, and I know he watches the channel, so Ed, shout out for you, mate. But this is The Changeling, so I'm really looking forward to watching this one soon. And then the last one, the last Blu-ray anyway, that I picked up before I show you the small handful of 4Ks that I got, was inspired by Cinema Axeman, Mike Wood's, one of his latest Blu-ray updates. And he said that he picked up this film and he gave a little synopsis of it. And I was like, that's right up my street. And I think I left a comment to that effect anyway underneath it. So I've picked up Southern Comfort. So I'm going to be watching this one soon. So those were the Blu-rays, the special editions and the one standard edition there for you. I had to cut then and take that line again. I'll let you know that I've done it rather than just having a cut in there. Because I just couldn't put my teeth in. I was just tripping over my words. I've had to do that a few times in this video. I don't know if I'm a little bit out of practice. But anyway, I've got some 4Ks to show you. So the first one to show you is Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2. It's the Steelbook. We're only getting the Steelbooks of these, and I really don't know why we're not getting like the standard Blu-rays and the DVDs or whatever, because as I said last time, I'd have probably just bought the DVD for this, but I do want them. I've got all the rest of the DC animated stuff just here. And this one in particular, I'll just bring it right into the camera. You can see Batman Beyond's there. And Will Friedle, who voiced the character in the original DC animated universe in the late 90s, early 2000s, is credited as coming back. And so I was really hyped to watch this, because Batman Beyond is my favourite iteration of Batman ever. Really, I just absolutely love it. But he might as well have not been in this, to be fair. It was an interesting plot. It was very much just sort of moving part 2 along to get to part 3. So I'm hoping that part 3 is going to be an epic conclusion when that comes out around June, July time or whenever it is. But I'm looking forward to that. And it'll be nice to have all 3 Steelbooks as well in the collection. They'll look nice on the shelf. So the last 2 to show you are related, so I'll show them together. If you know me, you know what a Cameron nut I am on this channel. So of course it was going to be True Lies, but then The Abyss as well. I'll come back to this one. So True Lies, I really enjoyed this transfer. I know a lot of people have said, oh, it looks waxy, it's unwatchable, it's whatever. And I think John, when he was talking on Mondo Celovic, when he was actually talking about the Aliens transfer, sort of, I'm summarising what he said, but he basically sort of said that it's in the eye of the beholder, isn't it, sort of thing. And depending on what you like out of your transfers will depend on whether or not you gel with these releases or not. For me, this has never had an official HD release. Somewhere behind you in the Blu-ray section, I've got the Spanish import, which looked all right, but I thought that this was superior. There were a couple of scenes in it, in particular the bathroom fight scene, and I think the scene that's getting the most sort of talked about on the reviews I've seen, at least, is the Charlton Heston sort of debriefing scene at the beginning, where they do look a bit waxy and it is a bit soft. But does this look better than the DVD? Yes. Is it nice to have an official James Cameron sanctioned, HD sort of future-proofed version of it? Yes, it is. Can I also see where other people are coming from when they're talking about, that the film should be preserved as it was and whatever else? Yeah, I can. But then I also agree with the argument that it's James Cameron's film, so he should really be allowed to do what he wants to it within reason. But that's a whole... I could go on for ages about that and how I think about it. But for me, I really enjoyed it, and I'm just really happy to have this in high def and ultra high def. And, as I've said before, when I haven't liked things, I feel bad that I've not had the itch scratched. But for me, this scratched the itch. So for anybody that didn't gel with it, I'm sorry you didn't get your itch scratched with it. And you never know, it might be something where they revisit it down the line and do another version. They've done it with T2, haven't they? And there's a few versions of that kicking about, so we never know. But anyway, the last one to show you, I showed The Abyss again. So you'll be thinking, if you watched the update, James, you bought this last month, and you're absolutely right. I've got the American version up there. So I pre-ordered this from Cool Shop. And this is the European, I think the Scandinavian import, and it's still in the cellophane. I've not opened it because I've watched the American one, but I actually prefer the fact that this has got a thick case and the slipcover and how it looks more uniform with the True Lies one. But I genuinely forgot that I'd ordered it, because I ordered that one and it was a pre-order and it took the money straight away, and I think it was like November or whatever when it got announced. They put it up and I was like, oh yeah, and then sort of forgot about it because I got caught up in the hype of that the American one was going to be region free, and obviously wanted it with all the English writing and whatever else. And so I ordered that from Wow HD and had a bit of a palaver and ended up having to get it on eBay. And so I forgot about it, and then it turned up in the post and it was a happy little surprise. So yes, I've ended up with 2 copies of it. The American one that I got, the slipcover actually turned up a little bit damaged, which irked me a little bit. I know it shouldn't, but it did. Whereas this one's absolutely pristine, and like I say, it's more uniform on the shelf. That they're going to be like that. And then my sister's getting me Aliens for my birthday, because I've got the Blu-ray for that. And whereas those 2 films have not had at least official HD releases before, obviously Aliens has been on Blu-ray for about 15 years or whatever now, and the transfer on that is still very, very good. So I wasn't in a mad rush to pick that one up, and probably would have waited until maybe like the sales at Christmas or something to get it. But my sister's like, what do you want for your birthday? And I was like, oh, actually, I'll have that. So I will have the set come the end of June anyway. But yeah, it was a nice, happy little surprise. So I'm gonna keep both releases, because obviously with it not being released over here, and it being one of my favourite films, there's absolutely no harm in me having a backup copy of that in case anything, scratch it, damage it, lend it out, whatever, that sort of thing, because that's just the sort of collector that I am. But I wouldn't do that with with every title in the collection. I'm waffling a bit here. I'm a bit out of practice with this, folks. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm going to leave it all in. And if you've made it this far in the video, you'll have to let me know, something like #waffles or something like that. At some point in the next few weeks, and it's all going to be very much dependent on whether or not my dear Laura goes into labour or not, I'm hoping to do a final tour of this room, and it's going to be a warts and all tour, because I've kind of stopped categorizing things and putting them away and alphabetizing them, because we're actually moving out of this room. This room is going to be my baby's nursery, and bedroom. It's the second bedroom in the house, or well, the second of 3, but the attic bedroom would be no good for the baby, because there's no proper heating up there, and obviously he'd be a floor above us, which is no good as well. And there's actually a door joining this room to our room, which is great for for when he'll be in here, when he's old enough to have his own room and stuff like that. But that means that this movie collection's got to go somewhere. And as I've said before, you might wonder, where is 5,000 movies or whatever in here gonna go. It's gonna go in the basement, which at the moment looks like something out of a Saw film, and is really not a habitable space at all. But when we sold my last house where I built the first movie room, we made a profit on it. We've kept that profit to one side, and we're gonna have the basement converted into what's gonna be a new movie room / home cinema. And it's also gonna have to double as a bit of storage as well, but I'm thinking of creative ideas where I can sort of use basically a section of the room to store things like the Christmas tree and old family, sort of home videos on VHS. And, I've got a couple of boxes of things that were my dad's that I wouldn't use in everyday life, but the things that I'm not quite ready to say goodbye to. And, the sort of stuff that ends up in a cellar, a garage, an attic, all that sort of stuff. So over the summer, it's going to be a very, very busy household because it'll be a new baby, but we're having the conversion work done. And then when that starts, we'll be moving down there. And I intend to vlog that as best I can without getting under the builder's feet, of course, but, sort of take you along the journey. And then as we work out how we sort of move all this down there, one of the challenges I'm facing at the moment is that even when the room's dug out and tanked, it might not be tall enough. It'll be tall enough for me to stand in, but it might not be tall enough for the shelves, the IKEA Billy shelves, to go in there. It might be, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches. Sort of the shelves might be 4 or 5 inches too tall. So I'm at a bit of an interesting sort of dilemma with that at the moment. As do I build custom shelves? And do that sort of thing. Again, I've referenced John over at Mondo Chelovic a couple of times in this video. But a couple of years ago, many YouTubers have done it as well. He did the thing where he battened some 2x4s to the wall and then some 1x2s across and sort of made some sort of little ledges for the discs to sit on. So that's a possibility. I can screw right into the tanking walls and stuff like that. And I've spoken with, it's my uncle and his guys that are doing it 'cause he's a builder. So I've spoken with him at length about will I be able to do that, and so there's ways I could do that. One of the other options, which I'm not so sure I'm keen on, but it is an awful waste of this furniture that I've spent a small fortune on if I don't sort of manage to keep it or use it, is potentially cutting like the top shelves off of these so that they'll fit in and then having to reinforce them some way. But I just don't know whether that might look a bit shit. And then the third option as well is completely buying new furniture that will fit the space. But then again, it sort of feels like I'm spending twice. And, these bookcases, as you'll know, are 50 quid a go. And there's, I don't know, 6 or 7 of them in here. So, it's not been a cheap thing. So I'm kind of weighing it all up as well. But because I'm going to have a bigger space, the room's going to be about 4 meters by 5 meters. And is basically sort of the footprint of half of my house. I'm really going to be able to try and sort of lean into the home cinema aspect a bit more. So I've got the 2 recliner chairs that were in the old movie room. One of them's over there, one of them's in the sitting room downstairs in the corner, but they're going to both go downstairs. This chair will probably go down there as well, unless Laura wants to keep it in here for nursing baby. But either way, the chairs will go downstairs, and I'm looking into, do I do a proper projector, like, spend a bit of brass and get a really decent HD projector, and I've been looking into like, sort of budget friendly, but reasonable cost surround sound systems, and do I make a proper sort of a go of it as a cinema, or do I just get another really, really nice HD, 4K TV, because I can't afford a 4K projector. So these are all the things that I'm wondering about, but there we are. So yeah, so that's what's going to be sort of coming up on the channel, is maybe one more final tour in here, and then building of a new movie room. But I would imagine over the next few weeks and couple of months, with the arrival of our son, I'm probably going to be quite absent. So when I turn up, it'll be sporadic, and I'll say hello when I do. But yeah, I really have waffled there, haven't I? But I'm gonna let you keep it all. It's all good. Like I say, hashtag waffles if you've made it to the end. If you've enjoyed the video, drop it that all-important thumbs up. Lets me and YouTube know to keep waffling. Leave me a comment down below with your thoughts on the pickups or any ideas on the shelving sort of dilemma that I'm going through at the moment. I really would appreciate any advice with that. At the moment, I think I'm in the camp of building the shelves like John's done, and just having it all look fresh and uniform and neat. Rather than trying to sort of butcher these cabinets, and then I'll probably keep one of these, move it into the bedroom, and maybe flog the rest. I don't know. We'll see. But that's where I'm at the moment. But any input would be welcome. Like I say, comments down below. And if you're not already subscribed, please think about subscribing. I recently hit 700 subscribers and then lost a subscriber, so I'm sat back at 699 again at the moment, and it's just so close. So if you fancy subscribing to the channel, it would help me out, absolutely, helping the channel to grow, and obviously means that I can get to know you as well through future videos. Well, I'll leave it there because I think I've rambled enough, haven't I, for this video, but it's been really nice to just sit and chat to the camera and sort of be quite unscripted, I suppose. But above all else, as I always say, take care of yourselves, and I look forward to seeing you again really soon. The next time I see you, I might even have the little one with me, so stay tuned for that. But bye for now.